Okay everyone, welcome back to BTD6. Now, last video we talked about monkey knowledge. This video we're talking about the heroes. All of the different heroes in the game, which ones are the best, and which ones are kind of, meh, right? So, just as sort of like a quick guide for anyone that's just looking to know which heroes to buy, I think Quincy, Gwendolyn, Obyn, Etienne, Benjamin if you feel like you need more money, Ezili and Adora are probably the strongest heroes out of all of these. So, just like a quick guide right now, if you're just looking to know which ones to buy, once again, Quincy, Gwendolyn, Obyn, Ezili, and Adora are probably the strongest, if you're looking for strength. If you're looking for everything else, we're going to go into that right now. Okay, so starting off with Quincy. Now, all of these in-game costs reflect against playing on medium difficulty on normal. And so, if at any point in time the cost here does not reflect the cost in-game, that's because we're playing on a different difficulty. And bear in mind, some of my I've fully loaded up my monkey knowledge for heroes, and some of them does make them cheaper. Well, this one. Some of them do make the heroes cost a little less, and just bear in mind that the monkey knowledge is in play here. So, we're going to have a look at Quincy first. We're going to go to... what's a good map? I think Frozen Over is probably the best map, so we'll go Sandbox, and I will show you Quincy and everything that's amazing about him. Okay, so first of all, Quincy's got very decent range, and he can handle himself quite well. So, for example, if we just send round 1, some heroes can't even handle round 1 on their own, which is a little frightening, but say round 5, we'll step it up a bit, send round 5. Quincy does a pretty good job. He's kind of like a ninja in that regard. He has arrows that ricochet off other balloons, and overall it just makes him a really good hero to start off with. So if you're looking for a base game hero, and he does come for free, as far as I'm aware, he is the very first hero to unlock, he's not a bad choice. Certainly not a bad choice. Now, let's get into some more specific details about Quincy, ones that you are more likely to care about. Okay, so, see, obviously a bunch of group balloons probably can screw him over, so let's just send out like 50 blues. He will probably get overwhelmed here. So obviously he doesn't have the greatest group popping power at first. See, he does let some blues and reds through, but honestly he's not that bad to start off with, and I'm sure you'll be able to handle him until you can actually get some better towers out there on the field. So, just at level 3, because that's what my monkey knowledge allows him to get to, he's a pretty decent tower. Can he pop black balloons? Yes, he can. Can he pop white balloons? Obviously he can. Now, lead balloons, he cannot. He can't pop lead balloons just yet. In base value, he cannot pop leads, and he also can't see camos. Just at base level 3. When you place him, he will not be able to see camos, and he will not be able to pop lead balloons. But, he can pop purple balloons, which can be a very big plus. Now, as you level up Quincy, you'll get slightly longer range, and then at level 5, he will be able to shoot camo balloons. So once you get Quincy to a high enough level, he can in fact start taking down some of these camo balloons, which will be a massive help for later on, especially because camo balloons do not come quickly. They show up slowly, and obviously you can place Quincy round 1, except for in half cash mode, and you can happily just let him level up himself, and he'll be able to take out the camo balloons when they first show up. So that's all good. Now, when it comes to leads, if you keep getting levels, so for example, up to level 7, he fires an exploding arrow every 3rd shot. So, you send out a lead, he won't pop it the first 2 times, but he will pop it the 3rd time. So as you can see, first 2 shots do nothing, and then the 3rd shot explodes the lead. So, once you get Quincy to level 7, technically, he can pop pretty much anything. He can pop camo leads, because he can see leads thanks to level 5, and he can pop them thanks to his explosive shot on the 3rd try. He can pop camo purples, and he can deal damage to every single balloon type at level 7. So he's by far probably one of the fastest heroes to be able to do that. So just keep that in mind. And then let's talk about his damage against Moabs. So if we get him to, say, level 10, you did see an upgrade there. I think it was level 8 or 9? 7? 8. Arrows do triple damage to Moab class balloons. So he's just at level 10. So we'll send out one Moab. Obviously he's not going to be able to handle it all by himself, but look at how much damage he does. He does a decent amount of damage. He's almost popped it. In fact, he does pop it, but all those ceramics do leak through, which takes out quite a lot of lives. So obviously he's not reliable in terms of taking a Moab out by himself, but this is where his abilities come into play. So, Quincy's first ability speeds up his attack speed by a lot. So if we send out that Moab again and use his first ability now, he shoots much faster, he's able to take out that Moab and a lot of the insides. Don't get me wrong, if you're still playing a game, you might have lost. In fact, I don't think you would have, because we didn't take more than 200 lives there, so you might have been fine for a regular game, but obviously you can't rely on Quincy to solo Moabs just yet. So that was his first ability. His first ability does speed up his attack. His second ability, though, is really good at cleaning up balloons, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So we'll send out that Moab once again. We won't use the first ability, because we know Quincy can pop this. And then if we use his second ability, it does perfect cleanup of regular balloons. So his second ability covers a large area and a deadly rain of arrows. That large area is depending on where the first balloon on the map is. So if, for example, you send out a bunch of ceramics... Oh, I did not take the ability off cooldown, my bad. Hold on. Let's just get rid of that, try that again. So if we send out a bunch of ceramics, and then we wait a bit, and then we send out more, we use the ability, but it pops the first lot and does not aim for the second one, so obviously it targets first as priority. Right. Now, obviously, all these arrows, all these upgrades, sorry, will slowly increase how much damage his arrows do. Arrows do quad damage to Moab class balloons, that's at level 14, which is amazing. Rapid shot becomes 4 times attack speed and cooldown is reduced, that's his first ability. And obviously, as we keep going, the upgrades are going to get better and better until he reaches max level, level 20, and then we'll just send out a Moab and see what happens. Look how amazing he is at level 20. We'll send out a couple Moabs now. Okay, so clearly he still has problems trying to clean up the balloons, so we'll send out a BFB. See how well he does. So as you can see, he's doing quite well. Obviously he has trouble cleaning up the rest of the balloons, but that's what his abilities are for, and as you go along, his abilities do get stronger and make him stronger for it. So if we send out a ZOMG, wait for it to get a little more permanently in range, there we go, use his first ability. He can take it down no problem, and then use his second ability, and it cleans up the entire ZOMG. So if you have a level 20 Quincy and both of his abilities, you can finish round 80 by himself. That's how good he is. Obviously it will not cost this much in game, heroes level up on their own as the levels progress, so don't worry, you don't have to spend over 100,000 just to get Quincy to max level. Alright, so, in summary, fairly early on Quincy can pop pretty much any type of balloon, purples, camos, leads, camo purples, camo leads. He can do it all. He's fairly good at taking down Moabs once you get the quad damage at like level 17, I think. And overall, he's a pretty decent tower. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next one now. Okay, now we're on to Gwendolyn. She costs 900 in-game dollars? Cash? Cash. Costs 900 in-game cash, and we'll go into a sandbox and see how well she does. Okay, so Gwendolyn, unlike our main man Quincy, is a little more pricey and has a little less range. Obviously the Fox Pet does not come with Quincy, Gwendolyn, you do have to purchase it in the trophy store if you do want the adorable Fox Pet. But, Gwendolyn, by herself. She's alright. We'll send round 1, just to see how she does. And then once she gets through that, we'll send round 5, just to see how well she does. Obviously round 1's actually nothing, so we'll just send round 5. So, Gwendolyn's actually a very good tower in terms of damage, but obviously, early on, she does have a bit of a time trying to handle a lot of balloons all at once. So, she's not too bad, but she does have her own limitations. So, as you can see, we're getting through round 10 fairly easily at the moment, but when those group balloons come out, I think they'll come out at the end here, she does struggle a little bit, starts to let them slip, but that's alright. So for example, if we just sent the classic 50 blue balloons, oh, never mind, 50 spacing 1, so if we just send that out, that's not what I wanted, that's not what I wanted at all. There we go. We can see that she does kind of struggle with them, just like Quincy. She doesn't... Oh, she can actually get through all of them. So she does a little bit better than Quincy on the 50 blues challenge. But in the long run, Quincy's alright, pretty decent. But Gwendolyn obviously costs a lot more, and that's for good reason. So, Gwendolyn's first ability will actually get her to level 10. So, Gwendolyn's first ability is to throw down I believe it's called like a Molotov cocktail or something. Whoa, I did not mean to send 50 of those. That's my bad. But look, she does fairly well against them, honestly. She almost pops all of the ceramics. Like, obviously all of them got through in the end, but she does fairly well against them. So, if we just send maybe 5, she actually doesn't do too bad. Level 10, she can take out 5 ceramics, which is quite amazing. So, now that we're getting into her abilities, let's see how she does against a Moab. Just 1. No, not 5. 1. Well, either way, this is a pretty decent show. So obviously she doesn't do as well as Quincy. Oh, maybe a little bit just as well as Quincy. Okay, let's see again. Just the 1 Moab. Maybe it'll make a difference than just sending out 5. Okay, so she does have a burning over time effect, which is quite lovely. Ah, I almost forgot. So, Gwendolyn can never see camo balloons. Gwendolyn can never at any point in time see camo balloons, so camo balloons will just go straight past her no matter what. Okay? But, obviously because she's using a lot of fire, she can pop lead balloons quite nicely. Purple balloons though, same thing. She can see them, but she can't pop them. So, camo purples are her worst nightmare. Can't even see them, and even if she couldn't even pop them. So you do need to watch out for that about Gwendolyn. That's one point that Quincy has over her. But if we start looking into the abilities, so for example, once again we'll send out just 1 Moab, and we'll use Gwendolyn's first ability. That was a terrible example. We are going to try that again because we missed entirely. So, her first ability does throw a Molotov cocktail on the track near her. So, if you can't time it well, you're going to have to keep trying until you get it right because she will throw it damn near anywhere. So, there's the Molotov. It does quite a lot of damage. So she almost managed to clean that up perfectly, whereas normally, without the Molotov cocktail, she can barely even start attacking the ceramics that pop out of the balloon. As you can see right there, she doesn't even get through the ceramics, all of them go through, but with the Molotov cocktail, if we time it right... Oh, that was terrible timing. Well, no, that was just terrible placement, to be honest. But either way, you can see that she does get a few more hits off. And the Molotov cocktail is amazing in general. So we'll just... Actually, I think this will be a better show for how well the Molotov actually does. So we'll send out 100 ceramics. Obviously she can't pop them all, but with the Molotov, she actually does pop pretty much all of the ceramics. It's just all the balloons inside of it. She needs just a little bit of extra popping power. but her Molotov cocktail is essentially just as strong as a mage's Wall of Fire ability, and if you do not know, that is very cheap and very effective way of dealing with most bloon types. So, I'm not sure about this, but can the Molotov? No, the Molotov cannot pop purples, regardless of how much you want it to. As for camo balloons, it can pop camo balloons. Okay, so Gwendolyn can't see camo balloons, but her Molotov cocktail does not care about balloons having camouflage. So, in a way, Gwendolyn can handle a bunch of camo balloons so long as you throw down the Molotov cocktail at the right time. And as you can see, it's got quite a big range as well. So, you do need to watch out for that, but Gwendolyn can in fact pop camo balloons if you need her to, just for one round, and there's not many of them. But do not rely on Gwendolyn for popping camo balloons overall. Okay, now we get to the fun ability. So this ability is just an absolute tank of an ability. So we'll see how it works right here. All the ceramics on the screen, and then we do that, and now they're all off screen. Okay, obviously those ones hadn't gotten all the way in, but yes, this ability is insanely good. It just melts everything. So her second ability sets the whole screen alight, burning all balloons and granting the heated up buff to all monkeys. So it pretty much just burns everything on screen. We'll even send out 100 Moabs here just to test it out. I'm not sure how well it'll do against actual Moabs rather than just ceramics, but here we go. Okay, so it didn't pop them all. It didn't pop them at all, but still, all of them are very weakened at this point in time, and she does a pretty damn good job of hurting those balloons. Also, the heated up buff should very well be mentioned, because I believe... Where is it mentioned first? Heated up every few seconds creates a powerful blast wave of fire that pops balloons and adds fire to nearby monkeys' attacks. So when you use her level 10 ability, sets the whole screen alight, burning all balloons and granting the heated up buff to all monkeys. So every other monkey you have on the screen will get this heated up effect, increasing their damage done and making them a lot stronger. So then, once we get to level 20, I believe I might have just seen that she can pop purples at this level. Yes, she can. So, what level was that? I think that was like 14, 15? Let's have a look at this. Yes, Firestorm has increased duration. Purple balloons are no longer immune to Gwendolyn's attacks. So once you're at level 16 of Gwendolyn, she can pop purple balloons with ease. She does no longer care about purple balloons, and she will pop them relentlessly. So there you go. She can pop purple balloons in the end. Still cannot see camos, but her cocktail can. So there's always an upside, I guess. Okay, so at level 20, obviously still can't detect camo, but can pop purples, leads, and pretty much most other things except for camos. So, let's see how she does against the Moab now at level 20. Obviously we're not sending 100, we're just going to be sending the 1. So there you go, that is why she is better than Quincy, because already we didn't even have to use an ability and she can pop a Moab at level 20. She can pop quite a few Moabs at level 20, in fact. Don't even need the ability for cleanup or nothing. You just send out the Moab, you send out the BFB, Gwendolyn can handle it. Alright. And then I believe she can handle a BFB on her own at level 20. Okay, how about a ZOMG? We're gonna just keep testing. We're gonna keep pushing. We'll see how it goes. Okay. She seems to be struggling a little bit here. That's alright. Still in range, still in range. Ooh, lucky. Okay, so I think she will pop this ZOMG, but I'm not sure about the BFBs inside. Okay, never mind. She's actually done really well. She's popped the ZOMG, the BFBs, and the Moabs, but cannot handle what's inside the Moabs. So, she's overall quite decent, and obviously if you use the heated up buff, or these abilities right here, you probably can destroy this ZOMG with relative ease. So for example, if we just throw the Molotov down there, deal a little bit of extra damage to the ZOMG, and the Molotov cocktail ability comes back really quickly at level 20, so just keep that in mind. If you're ever in a pickle, just throw the Molotov. It's going to be really easy. Then once all these Moabs are dead, you can just burn the entire screen. Well, make sure you pop all the Moabs first so that this doesn't happen. But yes, Gwendolyn, amazing hero, perfect for damage if you're looking for that type of hero. Can pop purples and leads, cannot see camouflage balloons at all, but overall is a very strong hero, especially with her abilities. So, highly recommend unlocking Gwendolyn if you have not already done so. Alright, next hero. Okay, next hero, Striker Jones. Costs 750 on a regular medium game mode. Obviously I have my monkey knowledge, so it's going to be a bit cheaper than that. But here is Striker Jones. Now Striker Jones does have a massive radius. However, he does also have a massive weakness. So, Striker Jones shoots rockets, which means he's got a bit of an explosive personality. Haha. And if we send round 1, obviously round 1 baseline is just a terrible way to measure anything. So we're going to stop doing that. We'll just send round 5, just to show you how he goes. He does not do that well when it comes to popping regular balloons early on. So, honestly, I think he would lose to round 10. He wouldn't be able to pop all of the blues, but he does have explosive damage. So when it comes to grouped balloons, like right here, where there's a little bit of a crossroads, you can see he's aiming for these ones, but he's also popping the ones in front of him as well. So he's not too bad if you set him up in a correct position, but he can be a little bit of a pain, so to speak. So he did actually manage to get through round 10, which wasn't too bad. But allow me to point out his flaws and why I do not use him all that much. So, first things first, obviously he shoots rockets, he can pop lead balloons. However, as you can see, he cannot pop black balloons at all. At least for now. Black balloons are completely resistant to his explosives early on, so do watch out for that. You are not fully protected against leads because they pop immediately into black balloons, and although his specialty is to pop leads, the black balloons inside can escape him quite easily, so do watch out for that. Now we will test out his Moab popping capabilities. Now at level 3, obviously he's not going to be great. He's not even really going to do a lot of damage to this Moab, as you can see. He's hardly even touched it. In fact, he only just hurt it now. As you can see, the eye has gotten a bit bruised there on the pufferfish. So that's not that great. However, his ability is what really makes him shine. Not the second one. The second ability is kind of meh, but the first ability really makes him shine. So his first ability will target the first lot, the biggest balloon on screen, and send a missile at it. If it's a Moab, it will also stun it in place. Now, this ability might not seem all that amazing right now, but later on you will see exactly why. So let's level him up a bit. And a very good thing about Striker Jones is that he has synergy with military towers. Now, Quincy and Gwendolyn both did not have very much synergy with other towers. However, Striker Jones does. He likes to synergize with mortar monkeys as well as bomb shooters. So, if you really enjoy your bomb shooters and your mortar monkeys, then Striker Jones is most likely the hero for you. He works especially well with bomb shooters if you choose Recursive Cluster, one of my favorite upgrades for the bomb shooter. And if we level him up a bit here, you can see that later on makes all black balloons less resistant to explosive damage from all monkeys. So, now that we've gotten that upgrade, send out a black balloon, he can actually pop it. It does take him a couple tries. He can't pop it immediately. Well, in that case he did. But, as you can see, I think it's like a random number generator sort of situation, so there's like a 50-50 chance of an explosive popping a black balloon versus it not. So sometimes it'll pop it first try, sometimes it'll be second, sometimes it'll take a couple more. As you can see, there is a chance for him to start popping black balloons at level 5, but do not rely on it because black balloons do come in mass. And so it will be a lot more difficult for you to rely on Striker Jones all by himself. However, this does also mean that any other monkey that uses explosive damage, such as the bomb shooter and the mortar, will in fact also gain a buff. As you can see, there's a little Striker Jones symbol above the cannon when I'm about to place it anywhere. That just means that it has a slight potential to pop black balloons, as Striker Jones has given it the buff to do so. Okay, so we're going to increase Striker Jones a little bit further here, and as you can see, as we're going along, pops 2 layers per shot, and Mortar Monkey's blast radius increased by 10%. Bomb shooters near the hero get 5% range and 25% pierce. Just things like this, all to do with increasing the Bomb Shooter and the Mortar Monkey's abilities and damage. So, once you get Striker Jones to level 10, you do unlock his second ability, Artillery Command. Now, this is an okay ability. It really wants you to focus on using mortar and bomb shooters, though, for you to use this ability correctly. And it says, Artillery Command resets cooldown on all bomb shooters and mortar monkeys. So if you don't know what that means, bomb shooters, if you go down the middle path, at tier 4, have a ability called Moab Assassin, as you can see down here. And mortars, I believe, have an ability down the bottom path at tier... Is it the bottom path? It might not be the bottom path. I think it's actually the middle path. Yes, it is. Artillery Battery... Wait, is it? Popinor. Yeah, it's Popinor. So, at tier 5 of the middle path, I believe. Do they have an ability at these ones as well? No. Okay, so tier 5 of the Mortar Monkey also has an ability. And as we will see right now, if we use the abilities on, say, I don't know, something big and painful, like a ZOMG, right? If we use both of the abilities, 3 and 4, the Bomb Shooter and the Artillery Monkey, and then we use Striker Jones' second ability, boom, the cooldowns completely disappear. This gets a cooldown of its own, and we can use these abilities once again. So Striker Jones will reset the abilities, or will remove the cooldown of the abilities of these 2 towers should you ever start to use them. So, if you're wondering why this is useful, let me show you really quickly. So if we just get rid of all the balloons and we get rid of you. So I find this is only really useful for the bomb shooter, simply because the Mortar Monkey is great and all, but it is very expensive to get the ability for the Mortar Monkey, and overall I don't think it's very worth it. Oops, accidentally got an eliminator. So, if for example you had 5, what are these? Mob Assassins? Mob Assassins, right? And you're going up against a BAD. Using all 5 will not get you anywhere. Obviously it did crack it a little bit, but it won't get you very far, and the cooldown is going to make it so that this BAD rolls through quite nicely straight through your defenses. However, if you use all 5 and then use Striker Jones's ability, and then you can use all 5 again, you pop it much faster than you normally would. Obviously none of these guys can see camos, so they'll just roll right through. But with Striker Jones' second ability, you can use these abilities much sooner than you normally would be able to. So that, in my mind, is a big win, because look, we popped a BAD right here, and we only had Striker Jones at level 10 and 5 bomb shooters down one of the cheapest paths. which is just amazing. That is probably one of the easiest ways to beat a BAD. Obviously not everything inside of it, but still, that's quite a lot of money saved if you're playing on a difficult game mode. So keep that in mind. And just one little other thing. We're also going to send out just one ZOMG, and we're going to test out Striker Jones's first ability again, because I believe it would have gotten some buffs as we've gone along. So we've used it once. And there's the second time. As Striker Jones levels up, there will be upgrades for him that will make it so that this ability resets a lot more quickly than it did originally. So at level 3 it reset quite slowly, but now at level 10 it does reset quite a lot faster. And obviously we won't be able to pop the ZOMG, but we are doing a hell of a lot of damage to it before letting it out of our sight and stunning it in the process. So that is also another thing to be wary about. So now we will get Striker Jones to level 20, and just look at that fire rate now that he's here. Obviously his damage is still not amazing, but that fire rate is god tier. Just imagine shooting regular balloons like that. We'll send 50 ceramics. Just look at him. He destroys those ceramics amazingly. Now, obviously level 20 for any hero is going to take quite a while for you to achieve, regardless of if you're putting money into it or not. But obviously along the way, your bomb towers and your mortar towers will get a lot stronger as well. And just look at that. The ability at level 20 freezes the ZOMG in place if you spam it. How amazing is that? It gives you so much time. For example, if you're trying to pop this ZOMG and you simply can't, it gives you so much time to just try and figure out how you can do it. Maybe by something like this. It just gives you a lot of time to help you out here, and then obliterate it like that. So for example, well, just like that really. So Striker Jones is a pretty decent tower. Can't see camo balloons as far as I'm aware. No, he cannot. No camo balloons are getting on his radar. But he can pop purples, he can pop leads, and he can most certainly pop black balloons once he gets a few levels under his belt. Okay, next hero. Okay, next hero is Obyn. Costs 650 in-game for normal mode, and let's see how great Obyn is, which he most certainly is. Okay, so just like Striker Jones, once you place Obyn, he can immediately pop lead balloons, which is a very nice little buff to have. So if we send out a lead balloon or two, you can see that he can pop it immediately. Doesn't even have to be level 3 with the monkey knowledge that I have. Even at level 1, he can pop lead balloons, and it says nothing about it in here. So Obyn is one of my personal favorites, and the reason for that is his ability here. He places a pile of brambles on the track that can pop anything that is not a lead balloon. So for example, Obyn can pop this lead balloon, and then the brambles will help him pop the rest, but he cannot see camo lead, and so the camo balloon will get through and ignore the brambles completely. Okay, so that's just about his only downside. Besides, I think he also can't pop purples. Yes, so due to his magical shooting, he cannot pop purples. Very sad. So his only weakness here is camo balloons and purple balloons. So keep that in mind. He can pop black balloons with ease, and pretty much anything else with relative ease. So you might be thinking that, like, oh, this is a decent hero power, I guess. So obviously quite a lot of balloons can go into that brambles before it actually starts getting popped, and it's pretty decent, especially because you get it at level 3, and if you have the right monkey knowledge you can start at level 3. So Now that we've seen that, let's get him to level 10. Also, I may have forgotten to mention, Obyn buffs magic monkeys. So, any purple background monkeys he will buff, and he especially focuses on druids. So, as you can see here, Nature's Clarity, all magic monkeys in range get +5 range and +2 pierce. So, for example, if you have a super monkey over here and then you move him closer to Obyn, he gets +5 range. Wait, what? Why is... Wait, oh, because we don't have the ability. So as you can see, terrible range on the super monkey here, but as he gets closer, he gets a lot more range, and you can see the little icon above the super monkey's head, indicating that he's getting the buff from Obyn. So keep that in mind. You want to place most of your magic monkeys around Obyn so that they gain this effect, which is very handy, gives them the range, gives them more pierce, and if you are a druid, the druids get extra buffs from Obyn. So as you can see, they get 2 upgrades, whereas every other magic monkey just gets 1. So one of the very popular strategies for Chimps mode involves using Obyn and just surrounding him with druids and going for the bottom path, as well as a little bit of the top path as well. And it's an amazing strategy just because of how well it works. So Obyn synergizes extremely well with druids. It would be almost stupid of you to not use Obyn with druids. Don't get me wrong, it's certainly a viable strategy just to use Obyn on its own and avoid magic monkeys altogether, but you are missing out on quite a few of his upgrades if you are doing so. So, let's move on to his second ability, Wall of Trees. Very similar to his first ability, but it is extremely overpowered. So, level 10 Quincy, level 10 Gwendolyn, and level 10 Striker Jones, they did manage to pop a Moab, but they didn't manage to pop every part of a Moab. With the Wall of Trees, though, it doesn't matter. It just gets eaten. It just gets eaten by the Wall of Trees and does not care. Obviously, this Wall of Trees can fill up over time, and so it will no longer accept any more Moabs like that. That's how you know the Wall of Trees is filled up, and of course Obyn does have rather weak damage, so he won't be able to pop it, which is very sad. However, another big bonus about the Wall of Trees you will soon see right here, it explodes into bananas worth a lot of money. Now, if you have played Chimps mode, you would know that there is no way to generate extra cash in the game mode. You can't have your banana farms, they're removed from the game. The Monkey Village discounts work, I believe, but it's just in general, there's not a lot of ways you can make extra cash in the game. However, Wall of Trees is one of the few ways that you can actually make extra money in Chimps mode. Very surprisingly. So obviously you can't eat all of those, but in Chimps mode, you can still get money from Wall of Trees if you use Obyn. So that is why Obyn is a big favorite for people that are playing Chimps mode, because you can get a little bit of extra cash from him, and it's actually quite a lot of extra cash if you use him well. Okay, so now let's get him straight up to level 20. Wall of Trees can hold a lot more balloons. So Wall of Trees you could hold like roughly 5, maybe 6 Moabs. So let's see how many it can hold now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, around 8. Plus all of the ceramics that just tried to get through there. Okay, so it's not bad indeed. Okay, so let's just push that out of the way. Now let's see how well Obyn does against, say, a ceramic. Look at that damage. 2 hits and a ceramic is dead. Multiple ceramics? Doesn't matter. His attacks just follow the balloons and absolutely slaughter them. Now, I'm not saying that he's amazing at popping ceramics so well that he can beat round 63. Of course he cannot. But, oh, never mind, he can. If you can somehow get level 20 Obyn by 63, then he can absolutely destroy it. Never mind, I was completely wrong. and I'm willing to admit that. But yes, round 63 is nothing compared to level 20 Obyn. However, you will most likely not have level 20 Obyn at all before round 63, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so obviously Obyn is amazing. I'm not sure... Can he detect camos? No, he still cannot detect camos even at level 20, so camo balloons can still screw you over. However, as you can see, just like Gwendolyn, his ability can absorb camo balloons. So even though he cannot attack them, his wall of trees can absorb them. Also, he does have Nature's Ward Totem. That is an ability that he unlocks passively through one of his levels, and basically every few seconds he will place it on the track and it will slow balloons that come through. So for example, it'll be easier to show you just like this. We'll send out all of these and they will get slowed. Even if they are camo balloons, they will get slowed by the totem, so that it makes it a lot easier for Obyn to pop them. Or any other towers that you have. Okay, so overall, Obyn is probably one of the best towers. Gains you money, can pop leads, can pop... Wait, can it pop purples? Can he pop purples? I believe he can pop purples. No, he cannot. Even at level 20, Obyn cannot pop purples. So he can pop leads, he can't pop camos, can't pop purples. But overall, he is a beast of a tower to have, and I would highly recommend just for the abilities. I mean, look at that. Well, actually, that's way too many mobs, but still, he can solo round 40 and 50 for you with just a single wall of trees, so long as it does not absorb too many balloons. Alright, on to the next hero. Okay, the next hero is Etienne, 850 in-game cost, and I'm pretty sure he is the newest hero to be added in to the game. So, I've mentioned this a lot before, and I've certainly made a video talking about Etienne in its entirety, so if you want to go check that out, you can, but we will also be talking about him here. So, in my opinion, Etienne's abilities are pretty good. They're not amazing, but they're pretty good. But the main reason you will want to play and get Etienne is if you have terrible camo detection popping power. So, obviously, Etienne at level 3 also has terrible camo detection popping power. So, obviously at first he's quite crappy. So, he can't pop leads, he can't see camos, which means he can't pop camo leads, and overall he's just kind of okay. He does have a drone that follows him around, follows the balloons around and tries to pop them, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie, but overall he is not a strong tower. His drone will even struggle against blue balloons here. Just keep that in mind, because at the start, Etienne is definitely not one of the strongest towers. Obyn, Gwendolyn, Quincy would all have been able to handle this relatively well, but Etienne cannot. So just keep that in mind. Even just blue balloons can slip past him sometimes, so be wary when you place him first if you do, because he's not that strong to start off with, even at level 3. However, his first ability, if we send out, say, 50 green balloons, his first ability calls in some extra drones to help him do some cleanup, and it does actually help out quite a lot. Okay, so let's get him to level 10. Now, you may notice something. There is a drone that is now flying around the map, and there is good reason for that, because at level 8, I believe? Yes. Etienne gains an ability called UAV. All monkeys gain camo balloon detection. So, if you are unsure of what this means, essentially, as you can see, the tack shooter now has the camo detection symbol above it, and if we place the tack shooter down, it can in fact pop camo balloons. As you can see, it is attacking and successfully popping those camouflaged purple balloons. So, Etienne grants camo detection to all balloons on the screen, all balloons, all monkeys on the screen at any point in time, permanently. Once he reaches level 8, that is what he does. And this is the main reason why you would pick Etienne. For Odysseys that have camo balloons only, Etienne is amazing. Obviously not amazing to start off with because he can't even see them by himself, but to place him later on, you will be saving yourself so much time and effort, it is not funny. So, let's see how he matches up against one Moab. Oh, not 50. Jeez, I keep forgetting to reset that. Let's get rid of all of them. One Moab. Let's see how he does. Okay, so his drones do decent damage. It's probably going to have a similar outcome to the others, where it pops it, but not everything inside. Yes, of course. So, Etienne's okay against Moabs. However, we have not seen him use his ability against Moabs, where he summons him in his drone army. So obviously this increases his damage massively. The drones stay out for quite some time. They're still out, there we go. And so around halfway through the cooldown, all the drones will disappear. But in the meantime, they do insane amounts of damage. Now, as for Etienne's second ability, it allows the UAV that's currently flying around giving everyone camo detection to start attacking. So if we press 2, absolutely slaughters regular Moabs as well as balloons. However, since it is shooting rockets, it cannot pop black balloons or zebra balloons, so keep that in mind. Okay, now let's bump Etienne up to, say, level 20. So as Etienne levels up, he does gain access to a few more drones, lending him up to 4 in total at level 20. So, another big thing about Etienne is that at level 20, his second ability is now permanent. His second ability is now permanently on the screen and will constantly be activated. Now you might be wondering, then why do you still have the second ability? But the thing about that is, his second ability now, instead of summoning the drone that deals damage with the rockets, instead it buffs the drone that deals damage with the rockets. So as you can see, it's shooting orange rockets at the moment, but if we use the second ability, it starts shooting green ones and dealing a lot more damage. So as you can see, it's just shredding through them without a care in the world, and it's doing massive chunks of damage. So keep that in mind, because that will help you later on very much. Okay, so once Etienne reaches level 20, obviously he can pop camo balloons, and anything on the screen can also pop camo balloons. He can pop camo leads at level 30. Level 20, sorry. I do actually want to see how well he does at level 19 when the perma UCAV is no longer on the screen. Can he pop leads? Okay, so Etienne himself with his drones cannot pop leads at level 19. Obviously at level 20 he can, because the drone is now shooting rockets, but that's something to keep in mind. Etienne only gains lead popping power through his second ability. Oh, actually, I think he also gains it through his first ability. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so we'll get him back to 19, and we will send out a bunch of lead balloons. Obviously he can't pop them, but I think if we use this ability... No. Okay, so no matter what, Etienne alone with his drones cannot pop leads, but his second ability obviously can, and especially if he's at level 20. So overall, Etienne's not too bad. He's mainly just used to give every other tower camo detection, and then you just kind of forget about him. But he does help out quite a bit on the sidelines, especially with his hero power, with his abilities. Okay, next hero. Captain Churchill. Now, in my opinion, Captain Churchill is way too expensive to be used properly in any BTD6 game ever. That being said...
The Sun God fights on the side with the best artillery.
Okay, that's great. That being said, I do believe that Captain Churchill is one of the strongest heroes in the game. So, if you do feel like spending a lot of money to get Captain Churchill on your team, he most certainly is not going to let you down. Okay, so once again, start off round 5. How does he deal with round 5? Absolutely amazing. He's just a small tank. He fires off rockets, does piercing damage to those balloons. Absolutely amazing. Easily shreds through them. We'll send round 10. Round 10. Similar situation. He just destroys. He really does not care about these balloons. He is too expensive to have to worry about rounds 10 and 5. Let's put it like that. So obviously at 2,000 in-game cash, he's got to be good, right? So we'll send out a ceramic. He does fairly well, but obviously he cannot pop the black balloons or the black parts of the zebra balloons because he is shooting explosives. So here's where Churchill gets interesting. At level 4, increased attack range. That's quite a big increase. At level 5, adds a fast-firing machine gun attack to the tank. So, at level 5, if we send out a black balloon that he originally could not pop, the machine gun part of the tank can in fact pop black balloons. So Etienne, alongside his regular rocket, can now shoot a machine gun, and the machine gun can pop the black balloons, while the tank part does the rest. So at level 5, he overcomes his fear of black balloons right there, and at level 6, binoculars allow Churchill to pop camo balloons, so if we turn on camo and send out these black balloons, Churchill can handle them with ease. Same with camo leads. Camo leads are no problem. Camo purples as well get screwed over due to Churchill's amazing abilities. Now, this is just level 6. Level 6, Churchill can pop pretty much any type of balloon. He can pop camo purples, he can pop camo leads, he can pop camo blacks, he can pop camo zebras. Can he pop a camo lead? Of course he can. It just takes him a little while. Okay, so this is just level 6 Churchill. And you'd expect this from a very expensive tower. But now, how well does he do against a Moab at level 6? He does quite well. Surprisingly well. He does not get through all the ceramics, obviously just like the rest of them, but he is only at level 6. Every other tower got to level 10 before it could verse its first Moab for these tests, so we will get to level 10 and send out another Moab, see how he does. It's looking like a similar situation, except he does a much better job of cleaning up all the balloons. There are some that still get through, but that's okay. Now, let's have a look at Churchill's first ability, shall we? We'll send out a BFB to test this. His first ability, I believe, just increases his attack damage and speed, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so it didn't deal that much extra damage, but it did allow him to pop the BFB and all the Moabs as well. It did take quite some time, and he did lose quite a few lives. Let me just check that ability just to be sure it's what I think it is. Armor piercing shells, shots can... Nope. Where is the ability? Oh, that is the ability. My bad. Shots can pop black balloons and do extra damage to ceramic balloons. Duration increases as Churchill levels. So, this ability is meant specifically for ceramic balloons, is it? Alright, let's send Wave 63 to test that theory. Can't deal too much damage to those ceramics. That's a shame. We'll wait for the next lot. We'll use the ability. And honestly, he doesn't do that much better. But you can tell that there's actually a lot less ceramic balloons going through there. And as the ability said, the ability itself will last longer the higher Churchill is in level. So at level 20, This ability will last the maximum amount of time it possibly can. As for this second ability, launches a barrage of shells at up to 10 Moab-class balloons on screen, dealing massive damage each time. So if we send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and use the second ability, it pops all of the Moabs at once. Now let's try this again with BFBs, because I've never really tested this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and use the ability. It deals massive damage to pop them down to Moabs. Okay, so it can take out BFBs down to Moabs, but it can't clean up the insides, obviously. Let's test out ZOMGs. I sent out 1 prematurely, so then I sent out 9 more. Okay, let's use the ability. Okay. So it almost popped all of those ZOMGs. In fact, I think if we use this ability... Yeah, so it basically pops ZOMGs down to nothing as well. We'll use it again, and again, and again. Obviously you won't have this instant cooldown available, but as you can see, it is really amazing at destroying Moabs, BFBs, and ZOMGs. And this is just with Churchill alone at level 10. So, let's get him to 20. Moab barrage shells and main gun do massively increased damage per hit. And just look at him. If you didn't already think he was a tank, damn, you know? Okay, so camo lead, nothing. Camo purple, easy. Camo ceramic, gone. Camo black balloon, gone. Camo zebra, gone. Fortified camo ceramic, gone easily. Right, so, how about a Moab? What Moab are we talking about? I don't understand. What about a BFB? Increase his damage. Gone. 100%. Didn't even exist in the first place. Okay, how about a ZOMG? Level 20, Churchill versus a ZOMG. Uses ability. And then use it again. And then use it just one more time. I don't know what ZOMG you were talking about. DDT? Ah, see, that is quite interesting. Churchill does struggle with the DDT because his little shooting cannon, his machine gun on top of his tank cannot hurt the DDT, but Churchill's main tank gun can. So just keep that in mind, that although his main gun can deal really good damage against leads, against a DDT, it is kind of weak unless you use the ability. In which case, that is no longer the case. And I believe, at Churchill level 20, his first ability has pretty much the entire cooldown's worth of duration. So you can use the ability, and it wears off. As you can see, there's still a little flamey effect down here, and it wears off right as the ability comes back. So you've almost got an infinite first ability there. And your second ability does insane damage. So let's send out those 10 or so ZOMGs again, and let's use that ability. It pops them all completely down to BFBs now. If we use his first ability, it cleans up everything perfectly. So overall, Churchill is a very, very, very strong solo hero, but he is really expensive. So if you really want to weigh up those options, I personally would not choose Churchill. And if you're looking to see which heroes to buy, I would definitely avoid Churchill for now, just because it's way too expensive, even though the damage is amazing. There are other towers that are much cheaper that deal decent enough damage for pretty much every single game mode. You do not need this excessive amount of damage for this cost, in my mind. But, once again, quite a good hero, nevertheless. Alright, next one. Benjamin.
Made to be broken.
Now, Benjamin costs 1,200, but he is a very special hero. And I'm not just saying that because I like to use Benjamin. I've actually started to avoid using Benjamin, but the reason he's a special hero is because he is not an attacking hero. So that means he loses to level 1. Very sad, but true. Okay, so Benjamin's entire sort of philosophy of existing as a hero here is that he is not an attacking hero, but he is a support hero. So it's going to be really difficult to showcase him in sandbox mode because there are no rounds. However, at level 1, hacks in $100 every round. Generates $150 per round instead of 100. And then his first ability. So, Benjamin, at the end of every round, at level 1, will give you $100. So after 12 rounds, Benjamin's already paid himself off. And at level 2, he gives you $150 at the end of each round instead. So he is a money-making machine. He does not do a lot of popping, but he does have a lot of support effects. So at level 4, you earn $1 for every new balloon that spawns. So spawn in a balloon, you get $1. Spawn in another, you get another $1. Spawn in another, you get another $1. Now obviously this is just in sandbox mode, but this applies to when you start a new round. So for example, if wave 63 showed up, and you have a look at the cash that we have now, and then we start it, every single new balloon that comes in will give us a bunch of money. So obviously Benjamin does not do anything about the balloons that come through, so you're going to have a beefy defense, but Benjamin is all about earning that extra cash during the game. Okay, so level 5, bank hack. All banks earn 5% more income. So if you have a bank, and obviously you get Benjamin's little ability here, you will start earning 5% more income at the end of each round and during the round as well. Obviously here's the cash that Benjamin has generated for us. Okay, and now at level 6, cybersecurity. Restore 5 lives at the end of each round. So obviously difficult to showcase in sandbox mode, but at the end of every single round you will get 5 lives back. This is not mana shield lives, this is actual lives. And obviously if you're playing something like Impoppable or Chimps mode, it will not give you extra lives on top of your 1 that you have started off with. Okay, now level 7 is a very interesting ability. Bloon Trojan. Every few seconds sends a Trojan software virus to random balloon. Affected balloon spawns no children when destroyed and produces 2 times the cash. So, you will see that when I send out this Moab. There is a little sort of glitchy symbol on top of the Moab, and if we find something that can pop a Moab fairly easily here, like this, you will see that when it pops, nothing comes out of it, and we get 10 extra gold on top of it. So, that is a very handy ability to have. Obviously it can't do that to every balloon, it has a little cooldown in between, but it does slowly start to affect all the balloons, and eventually, like, you will make a decent chunk of money on this, and it makes sure that they don't spawn any ceramics, or at least the Moabs do not spawn any children. So, level 8, income has increased to 250, bank hack has increased even further, and at level 10, you unlock siphon funding. Downgrades most newly spawned balloons by 1 rank. By 1 rank. Wow, I can't speak English. Cash per pop from affected balloons is double. Last 10 seconds. So, we all know what shows up on wave 63. It's a bunch of lead balloons. Is it camo lead balloons? It's a bunch of lead balloons, and then a bunch of ceramics, right? We all know this. But, if we use siphon funding, with round 63, oh, they're black balloons, and now these are all just rainbow balloons. And it lasts for a certain period of time, and then, of course, it goes back to normal and it has its little cooldown. So, this second ability is quite amazing for round 63 and others like it, because if you know what's coming, and roughly when it comes, you can always go to the menu and come back. If you don't, you can pretty much target these balloons specifically, turn them into, say, rainbows instead of ceramics, which allows you to do a lot more damage to them a lot faster. It is a very handy ability to have at just level 10. Okay, so level 11, increased income, makes your first ability last longer. Your first ability, how have I forgotten that? Okay, so, Benjamin's first ability, I completely missed over it. Biohack. 4 closest monkeys pop an extra layer per attack for 6 seconds. Affected monkeys can't attack for 2 seconds after the effect ends. So, if we, say, have a bunch of dart monkeys, say if we have 4 dart monkeys around, just like that, and we send out, say, 50 blue balloons, right? Obviously the dart monkeys won't be the greatest. Never mind, they're actually pretty great. But if we send out, say, I think that was around 200 blue balloons, obviously they won't be that great, and they won't be able to pop them all, obviously. How many times have I said obviously? Too many. However, if we use the biohack alongside it, what? Oh no, I just sent out a bunch of wave 63. If we use the biohack alongside it for the blue balloons, and hack them, they will pop multiple layers. However, once the effect ends, they will not be able to attack for a couple of seconds. So, admittedly, this is not Benjamin's greatest ability. His second one is by far a lot better, and the first one is kind of just, it's okay, but it has a downside, and honestly, I think they could get rid of that downside and it would still be just as good. So, Biohack is a decent ability, but obviously at level 13, increases bonus damage and affects 6 monkeys for 8 seconds. Cybersecurity adds 10 lives per round and can go up to 100 lives over starting lives. So, Cybersecurity was the one that adds 5 lives at the end of each round. Now it adds 10, and it can go up to 100 over the starting lives. I'm not sure how that works with Impoppable and Chimps. I presume it would not allow you to do this, but in other game modes, you can go above your original amount of starting lives. Income increased. Bloon Trojan is sent more often, earns more cash. Income increased. Bloon Trojan can now affect BFBs and DDTs. Biohack lasts longer and can pop more. Siphon funding lasts 20 seconds, and cash per pop is triple normal for affected balloons. Okay, so overall, Benjamin is just literally all about getting that money. So if we just send round 63, look how much cash we're actually bringing in just by it being sent in. Benjamin is just insane for cash, but terrible for popping power. He literally cannot pop anything on its own. He is purely a support tower. So if you're looking for support and you want to deal most of the damage with your monkeys and just have a hero that gives you a lot of money, then Benjamin is by far the best hero of choice. Alright, next in line. Next up we have one of my personal favourites, Ezili. Very cheap, in-game cost of 600 only.
What is your will?
And she has a sort of voodoo vibe about her. Alright, let's go into Sandbox. Because Ezili is amazing in terms of her variety of pops that she can perform. So, admittedly, Ezili is not the greatest of damage dealers. So if we just send round 10, if we speed it up first and then send round 10, there we go. Yeah, she is in fact missing some of those balloons there, and some of them are going straight through. So you may be wondering why I'm thinking Ezili is so great when she's losing to round 10, which is pretty pathetic, not gonna lie. However, you will see right now. So Ezili did lose to a bunch of red and blue balloons, just like these guys. However, Ezili can in fact see camo balloons the moment you put her down. So she does not need any sort of special upgrade. It's not even in the first 1 or 2 upgrades. She just instantly can see camo balloons. Now, you might think, oh, that's alright. It's not too big of a deal. But it gets better. She can also pop leads immediately. So although she does not have a lot of damage, she can pop a wide variety of balloons. So she can pop camo leads the second you put her down, which makes her amazing for alternate balloons round, because you don't know how quickly the camo leads are going to come. She can also target DDTs fairly well as well, but obviously she doesn't have enough damage on under her belt at level 3. So, at level 4, Ezili's main attacks now curses multiple balloons. This means that she probably won't lose to round 10 now. I say probably, these are spaced out quite well, but as you can see, occasionally her main attack will curse balloons, leaving a damage over time effect on them, which will pop them over a slower period of time. So, let's get her to level 10. Makes her a little bit stronger and able to actually take these guys out. Now we suddenly have 3 abilities. What? That's right, Ezili does have 3 abilities. 2 of them are okay, 1 of them is god tier. Alright, so, first ability is Heartstopper. This prevents any regrow balloon from regrowing. So for example, if you send out a rainbow, never mind, she's too strong. If you send out a ceramic, never mind, one of her previous abilities takes that away as well. Okay, so basically Ezili is really good at, yeah, here it is. Ezili's attack strips off camo, regrow, and fortified properties from non-Moab class balloons. So if you send out a camo, regrow, fortified, ceramic, she will remove all of those and just turn it into a regular ceramic. Which is amazing if they didn't send ceramics in tight groups of one another. So obviously if you send out quite a few, she won't be able to do it to all of them, and some of them will sneak through just like that. But overall, she can make levels a lot easier for you. For example, the first group of camo leads, which is I believe round 59. Obviously the ceramics she won't do too well against, but the camo leads, she can strip the camo off of them when she pops them, so that none of the other balloons underneath them have that property, and none of your other towers have to deal with that. So that's quite nice. But let's have a look at her abilities. So her first one stops any regrow balloons from regrowing. So if we send out, say, 50 of the regrow ceramics, and we use the ability, obviously it doesn't actually work too well here, because her main attack is the only attack is the only attacking thing on screen. So if we move Ezili, say, back here, get her back to level 10, and then for example we have something like a tack shooter, a overdrive tack shooter with decent range, right? And we send out some of these bad boys. Obviously this is going to create a massive mess of regrow ceramics. As you can see, we probably lost a lot more lives than we should have, but if we send them out again and use her first ability, it stops them from regrowing. So they're just acting as if regular balloons, and now they can all regrow back again. But it can save you so many lives if you time it properly. Okay, so thank you very much, Overdrive, you've worked wonders. Okay, now her second ability is a bit scary, because it does come with a cost, a literal cost. So her second ability at level 7, Sacrificial Totem, a totem that gives camo detection, extra pierce, attack range, attack speed, and projectile speed to nearby monkeys, but it drains 10 of your lives. So if you don't know what that means, if you have a look up here, when you use it, you've lost 10 lives. That's what it means. So this pairs quite well with any towers that can give you lives back. For example, if you have enough points into banana farms, then your central market and the one before it, what was it? Marketplace can in fact give you lives back. There are other towers that can also give you lives back. I believe the Druid can, as well as another tower. Oh, it's slipping my mind at the moment, but the heli pilot can also give you some lives. So if you pair it with those, this doesn't really have too much of a downside, but once again it does take away 10 lives, so keep that in mind. Now we're up to the best ability in this game. Well, not the best ability in this game, but an amazing ability. So let's just see how Ezili does against not 50 Moabs, although she does do quite well, as you can see, a little bit of a spoiler. Let's just see how she does against one Moab. So as you can see, she's got that damage over time effect, and she can handle the ceramics fairly well. We only lost, I think that was 8 lives, so it's not too bad. But how about a BFB? How well does Ezili do against a BFB? Okay, so she does do quite a bit of damage. That damage over time is helping out quite a lot there. And she manages to pop all the Moabs. And she does do quite well at popping the ceramics, but obviously some got through. Now, this third ability adds a second damage over time effect that Ezili can apply. So, and as you can see, it specifically targets Moabs due to the symbol. So if we send out a BFB, just again, we know how this ends. But if we also use the ability, it adds green spikes that go into it, and bang, vanishes. It's like magic. So essentially, if we have a look at it, places a curse on a Moab class balloon. It takes damage every second until annihilated. Now, one thing they did forget to mention is that if it does pop a Moab, it will pop it completely. It does not care about it spawning any children. Much like with Benjamin, it will essentially make it so that it does not spawn any child balloons. So if we send out a ZOMG, make sure our ability is ready. Let's see just how well this does. So if we use the ability now, Ezili at level 10 can deal this much damage to the ZOMG. Pops it completely and utterly. And just so you guys know that I'm not pulling your leg here, we're sending round 80, which is the same as just one ZOMG. You might have thought that maybe I've messed with this ZOMG somehow, maybe made it weaker. But no, this is round 80, a legitimate round 80 on medium difficulty, and there goes the ZOMG. Absolutely gone. And since Ezili can in fact see camo and can pop leads, we can do this to a DDT as well. Takes a while, but we do get through it. Now, I have forgot to mention the best part about this ability, which is it can jump. Now you might be wondering what I mean by that. If we send out 5 BFBs, right, and we use this ability, it will attack the first one, right? That seems fair. But when it dies, oh, well, that was a pretty bad example right there because the ability ran out right as it finished popping that BFB. So we'll clear all those out. So we'll just send some out, but we'll space them out a little bit. And now we'll use the ability here. So it's on that first one, then when it pops, okay, that seems quite odd. I guess that must be an upgrade for later, so we will look into that. Okay, so there's the 10th ability, and we've gone through all those abilities, so where is the upgrade that allows it to do so? So there you go, at level 16, Sacrificial Totem lasts longer and only costs 1 life to use, which is quite nice. So there you go, only 1 life lost instead of 10. And now if we keep going, I think it's probably level 20. Yes. So, Moab Hex works faster and can destroy BAD balloons. So at max level, Ezili can pop a BAD with her ability. So just watch. I'm not sure how well it will work. I have not done this in a while. I haven't played with Ezili for a while. But let's just see how much damage this does. So her main attack is decent. But if we use that ability too, look how much damage that did. It's still going. And there it is. A BAD can be destroyed so easily with a level 20 Ezili. And just so that you guys know that I'm not faking this, we're going to do the same thing again, but look at Ezili's pop count as we do this. So it's pretty incredible pop count just on its own, but when we use the ability, it goes up in the thousands and tens of thousands. Look at that go, and then it suddenly jumps up by like 400,000. That's popping the BAD and everything that spawns from it instantly. That's how amazing Ezili is. This is why I recommend her as one of the heroes to get. Camos and leads off the start, and this amount of popping power for Moabs later on is just insane. Okay, let's move on to the next hero. Okay, next up we have Pat Fusty, 800 in-game cash. He's kind of the big dumb idiot of the heroes, but as most big dumb idiots are portrayed in movies, TV shows, social media, etc., they are big and dumb, but they are also extremely strong. So, unique thing about Pat Fusty off the start is that Pat is very special in terms of his placement. You can place Pat on land, that's pretty cool, but you can also place Pat in the water. So as you can see, these clearly designated water spots, and just so that you guys know I'm not lying here, this is all ice, you can't place subs on it. You can place subs in the water though, or in here, or in here. You can also place Pat anywhere you want, except for obviously on the track. So Pat can be placed in water if you so wish, but in all honesty, that's not the greatest sort of bit about Pat. So here we go. Pat, Rallying Roar, all nearby monkeys can pop 1+ layer for a short period of time. This is an okay ability. It's not the greatest, it's not something to go crazy about, but it will get better later on. Now, let's see what Pat can pop right now. Right now, blue balloon, slap, green balloon, slap, yellow balloon, slap, pink balloon, slap, black balloon, slap, slap. So, Pat can one-shot balloons up until pink, but obviously he has a very slow rate of attack, or rather a very slow attack speed, so if you send out a lot of pink balloons they will start to overwhelm him and they'll start getting through. So just keep that in mind. Early rounds, Pat's really good, but if they start to send out quite a lot, it can overwhelm him and be his downfall. Now, lead balloon can be popped by Pat. Level 3, even level 1. Lead balloons can be popped by Pat. Purple balloon. Once again, same thing, can be popped. Zebras, not a problem, so black and white balloons can also both be popped. Now, camo balloons. Pat cannot see camo balloons no matter how hard he tries, which is a very big shame, but everything else he seems to be able to handle relatively well here. Now, how well does he do against, say, a ceramic early on? He can pop the ceramic part instantly, but of course all the layers inside are another story. So let's level up Pat to, say, level 10. Now, level 10 is when Pat gets extremely strong because he gets his second ability. Now, Rallying Roar just increases the pop power of monkeys around him by one plus layer, I believe it was. So, for example, if we send out a bunch of blues, these dart monkeys are going to have to pop one layer at a time, but if we do this, they can suddenly pop multiple layers at one time. Never mind, it only affected this guy. That is very strange. Is that meant to be the case? Okay, it really just only applies... I guess it applies to those that are within Pat's range. Let me just double check that, because that seems really annoying. All nearby monkeys can pop 1+ layer for a short time. I guess they have to be really nearby for it to count. Yeah, so if you're planning on using Pat, make sure you put good monkeys really close to him. And I mean really close, like they can't even be just outside of his range. They have to be within his range for that first ability to work and to be useful. So do watch out for that, because it's going to be quite a pain if you've got monkeys just outside the range that you're trying to buff. So, on to Pat's second ability though, and I think it just speaks for itself, so I'm just going to show you guys what it does. So there you go. Pat will grab a Moab BFB DDT if visible, or ZOMG, and crushes it to bits over 5 seconds. So, by crushes it to bits, it means, obviously, that if you use it, it'll crush it, and it'll spawn in whatever it breaks down into. So, if we spawn in a BFB, wait for it to get relatively close so that Pat can actually get it within his range and use it, it'll pop it into just the regular Moabs. And an upgrade that Pat earns along this upgrade path as we keep going along is the ability to knock back balloons, or Moabs more specifically, but that's just because it's more obvious when a Moab gets knocked back. So Pat can knock back Moabs. He can also pop ZOMGs with this ability, and DDTs if he can see them. They specify that because he cannot see camos. So if you do give Pat the ability to see camo balloons, obviously, as you can see here, he can pop ZOMGs, but if you do give him the ability to see camo balloons with a village, he can pop DDTs, just like as if he could see camos originally. So there you go. Pat is quite amazing. Now let's see how he goes further on. Attack stun balloons for longer and can stun Moab class balloons very briefly. Rallying Roar increases radius and duration and increased damage of rallied monkeys. Slap can affect more than one balloon. Now, the level 20 upgrade is the biggest one of all. Big Squeeze can grab several big balloons at once. So Big Squeeze is his second ability. So now, if we send out, say, 5, we'll send out 5 regular Moabs. We use the ability. You can grab 4 of them and crush them to bits. And this does not just restrict itself to the regular Moab. Oh no. If you send out 4 ZOMGs, and admittedly wait a little while because it takes them a while to actually get to Pat, but if you send out 4 ZOMGs, he can pop them all. And just look at him go. He can pop BFBs as well. He can grab multiple Moabs. Literal Moabs. The only downside is that while he's actually grabbing these Moabs or BFBs, he is susceptible to, well, he no longer has the ability to attack. So he can grab them and squeeze them, but while he's doing so, he is not attacking. And if you're looking forward to him attacking, then you might want to time these big squeezes quite effectively. But there you go. Pat is quite a strong hero. He can't see camo balloons without some assistance, but he can pop pretty much everything else as well as do quite well against Moabs or BFBs or whatever, especially with his big squeeze ability. And of course, going to round 80 or even round 100, it's going to be quite handy if you can just take a big chunk of, say, fortified Moabs or BFBs or whatever, and just squish them to bits. It's going to be so handy. Okay, let's move on to the next hero. Okay, the next hero has also been added relatively recently. It is Adora, High Priestess. Costs 1,000 gold in-game in medium difficulty. Okay, so Adora is one of my personal favorites. I'm not going to make the joke, but I really want to. It's about her name, I'm sure you can figure it out. Okay, so the Long Arm of Light greatly increases attack range and power for a short time. This is a massive understatement right here, and we'll get to that in a bit. But first, we will see what Adora can pop. Red balloons, blue, green, yellow, pink. Adora does have a very nice attack that can search out and destroy balloons rather effectively. Bunch of black balloons right here. Works quite well. Now, this is only level 3 Adora. This isn't even anything amazing. And yet she can pop rainbow balloons relatively well, down to blues and reds. A ceramic, she has a little bit of trouble with, but she can in fact pop a full ceramic at level 3. So now let's just see here. Can she see camo balloons? No, she cannot. So Adora cannot see camo balloons, but can she pop LEDs? Yes, she can. So Adora can pop LEDs really well. Well, really well. I mean, I guess as well as you'd expect at a level 3 level. But yes, she can pop LEDs. She cannot see camos. She cannot pop purples. However, that will change later on. So, the main thing, well, actually later on, I mean right now. So her first ability, first of all, this is a massive understatement right here. The Long Arm of Light greatly increases attack range and power for a short time. This sounds like, oh, maybe the range will go from here to here in terms of radius. So it'll just like be a little bit of a boost, and then the power, maybe it'll double how much damage she deals. So let's just do a little test here, shall we? We'll send a Moab. That's right, I'm testing with a Moab at level 3 Adora. So there's the Moab. We did one little segment of damage. As you can see, there's one purple eye on the pufferfish. Now let's just do that again, but see what this ability does. So we'll slow it down. So there's the one Moab, and then we'll use this ability. What is that? Look at that. That is the range of a Super Monkey with both of the Super Range upgrades. That is insane. So her range starts here, and it went out to here. Right? So admittedly the extra damage doesn't do too much, but you will see later on why that is. So, at level 4, shoots double Divine Bolts. So now, her damage is effectively doubled. So let's just see how she does against a Moab now. Now that she's shooting 2 of them, she hurts it a lot earlier, and hurts it a lot more. So it's got that little band-aid and the 2 purpley eyes. Okay, so not too bad. Now how about we do that and the ability? So we'll wait for it to get out of her range, and then increase the range massively. Okay, so it still didn't do too much damage, but that's fine. Because you will see very soon, because this is only level 4 Adora. You wouldn't expect it to be able to pop a Moab. So, Divine Bolts pierce through more balloons, shoots 3 Divine Bolts at a time. Bloon Sacrifice. Sacrifice a targeted tower to grant Adora large amounts of XP. Now, I have mixed feelings about this ability. Essentially, if you are not satisfied with Adora leveling herself up, and you're not satisfied with paying cash to level Adora up, if you have a tower that maybe you don't want, like a glue strike, As you can see, Adora is level 7, but if we use this ability and sacrifice the glue gunner we just bought, she is now level 9. Okay, so if you're unsatisfied with the slow leveling, you can sacrifice some of your useless towers to Adora so that she levels up faster. Okay, so now level 10 Adora gets her third ability. Now this one is just as amazing as the first one. So send a Moab, use the first ability. Now that she shoots 3 bolts, it deals a lot more damage and might actually be able to pop the Moab. No, but it comes very close, right? So we'll get rid of that Moab. Now we'll send another one, right? Now we'll use the third ability instead. See the difference? It's just a subtle, slight difference. It's just very subtle. Very, very subtle. Right? So the third ability summons a powerful ball of energy to strike down the bloons. And powerful is not wrong. So now that we're at level 10, we may as well go all the way to 20 just to showcase how amazing Adora can end up. Increase attack speed, shoots 5 bolts at a time, pierce through even more balloons, shoots 6 bolts at a time, burn through an extra balloon layer. Long Arm of Light becomes even more deadly. That's the first ability, becomes even more deadly. Adora increases attack speed even more, shoots 8 divine bolts at a time, increase attack range, which I don't think she really needs, and Ball of Light is greatly improved. Okay, so now let's send out that Moab again, shall we? Look at that, absolutely gone. We send out a BFB. Same situation. BFB destroyed. Moabs follow suit. And all the other balloons gone. Let's try wave 63, shall we? Okay, so she doesn't do too well against wave 63, but she can in fact pop all the ceramics, which is quite amazing. So obviously, once again, a hero at level 20 before round 63, almost impossible. But once again, can solo round 63, which is quite amazing. So, let's step it up a notch. Let's send a ZOMG. Let's use Adora's first ability. Okay, so she does do quite a decent amount of damage, but obviously nothing too crazy. The ZOMG is still alive, still getting quite far, but it's just about popped right about now. We just need to wait for one more damage layer, and now it'll just about pop here, roughly. Yep. And then we use her ability, and it cleans up rather well. It can in fact, Adora can in fact solo round 80, if you need it to. But, here's where things get even more insane. So we sent out around 5 ZOMGs there. Let's use Adora's first ability, and then Adora's third ability. Look at that damage. That's just the third ability, let's be honest. That first ability did nothing. I don't even know how many ZOMGs that was, but let's have a look at this third ability. Utterly melts these ZOMGs. Now, of course, it didn't get through all of them, but look how many it did get through. They left 1 ZOMG. Just one. Just one. And then if we use it again, it cleans up everything perfectly. Everything that's left. So there you go, Adora is an amazing DPS tower. Sadly though, I do not believe she can see camo balloons. And I'm not sure if she can pop purples. She cannot. So camo balloons and purple balloons are her weakness. But other than that, she can obliterate pretty much anything else. So before we move on, let's see how well she does against a BAD. So we'll use the third ability now. just to see how much damage it does pretty much on its own. And look at it. It's already done 2 bits of damage to this BAD. And look, it's almost back available to us. Didn't even take that long to cool down. And there we go. It's basically popped now. There it is. Can't see camo balloons, so the DDTs get to roam free. But the ZOMGs will not last long once we get this ability back again. As you can see, it does amazing amounts of damage, so you do have to sort out DDTs on your own. But overall, Adora is an amazingly strong hero. 100% would unlock her, especially if you're trying to mix things up a bit. Alright, next hero. Okay, and that brings us to our last hero, Admiral Brickell.
Admiral on deck.
A very unique hero indeed. I'm pretty sure it's the only hero so far that solely can only be placed in water. So we will have to utilize that as much as we can. So I haven't used Admiral Brickell as much as I probably should have to prepare for this video, I'm not going to lie. So let's have a look at the first ability. Naval Tactics greatly increases attack speed of nearby water-based monkeys for a short time. So Admiral Brickell has got buffs for nearby water-based monkeys. So that includes towers like the Monkey Buccaneer, as well as your Monkey Submarine. Sadly though, there's no other towers that are really water-based unless you count the Ice Monkey when you get that specific upgrade, but even then, that does not really count. So, you might be wondering, what are all these things doing that she seems to be ejecting from the side of her ship? These are mines to help her pop these balloons. So if we send out a red balloon, let's actually send out something a bit faster. Pink balloon. These mines will jump onto the balloons and explode when they get near. So if a balloon gets in the radius of one of these mines, then it will get absolutely jumped on and obliterated. As you can see, it does a little bit of explosive damage while Captain Admiral Brickell does some shooting on top of her boat. Alright, so if we send out a lead, obviously Admiral Brickell herself cannot pop the lead with her gun, but the sea mines that she puts into the water can pop them. So obviously she does not put out enough sea mines to protect you completely from lead balloons. As you can see, they do get quite far and will in fact leak through if you don't have Admiral Brickell in a prime position like this. But overall, not bad for a level 3, and obviously Admiral Brickell cannot see camo balloons just yet. I'm not sure if that actually changes or not, so we will see and find out on our own. So, Admiral Brickell now at level 4, more popping power for Naval Tactics, and Naval Tactics increases popping power and allows affected monkeys to hit all balloon types except camo. So, what this means is, if you have a boat handy, or let's actually use a sub, it'll be easier to show for a sub. So obviously if we go for a sub and get advanced intel and then place a dart monkey here, obviously the dart monkey can't pop a lead balloon, correct? But if we get this upgrade, Naval Tactics increases popping power and allows affected monkeys to hit all balloon types except camos. So if we slow it down and we send out a bunch of lead balloons, the dart monkey cannot pop the lead balloons, and this guy can also not pop the lead balloons. But if we use Naval Tactics, the submarine can now pop the lead balloons. So that is what it is talking about, but obviously it will not allow us to pop camo balloons, sadly. So even if this dart monkey could see camos and this guy can shoot it, well, that's just because this guy can see camos. If you didn't know, the submarine works like that. If it has advanced intel and a monkey can see camo balloons, then it can also see camo balloons. That was not Captain or Admiral Brickell. Okay, so increases the damage, increases attack range, and camo detection. So I believe at this point, Captain why do I keep saying Captain? Admiral Brickell can see camo balloons now, as far as I'm aware. So let's test it out. Yes, she can. Okay, so purple balloons be damned. Camo balloons be damned. Rainbow balloons, ceramics, I don't actually know how well she does against these. But, as you can see, she can pop any type of balloon at this point in time, given enough time. Okay, so naval tactics allows affected monkeys to hit camo balloons, so now the boats and subs can pop camo balloons if you use naval tactics, this first ability. Sea mines do extra damage. Now, Mega Mine. Deploys to any water area a devastating mine that triggers on Moabs and stuns nearby balloons. Mega Mines last 3 rounds. So, what this means is, if you have a Mega Mine ability activated, you can put it anywhere where there's water. So I can put it right there. And it triggers when a Moab is nearby. So if we send out a Moab, boom. Just like her regular mines that she puts down here, it will automatically just fly at the balloons and blow it up. So if we send out a few more and put one down again, oh, there you go. It has blast radius, which allows it to pop multiple Moabs. So if we just put one down laying in wake here and we send out 3 BFBs, we'll see how well it does against these. There you go, pops all 3 BFBs, does not touch the lower layer though. It leaves the Moabs alone entirely, but overall does insane amounts of damage. Let's see how it does against a ZOMG. So we'll put it right there, wait for the ZOMG to get close, and does it pop the ZOMG? Yes it does, it pops it immediately into 4 BFBs. And so obviously if we were able to use the ability again, it will pop them again, and then it would probably clean up the rest of those Moabs as well. So that's an amazing ability for just level 10. And now, as you can see, the next ability affects the speed at which the sea mines get produced. So if we buy this, you can see it's like roughly 1 per second, and now it's roughly 1 every maybe 75 or 75% of a second. And then increased damage, Mega Mine cooldown reduced, naval tactics duration increased, enhanced sea mines have larger explosion, can damage black balloons, and remove the camo property. So now these sea mines can, I believe it said, can remove the camo property, so it should be able to blow these up. Yes, it can. And it can also damage black balloons, regardless of it being an explosive. Okay, we need to send a lot of these for it to actually work. So let's send 50. Just to make sure Admiral Brickell can't pop them all. So there you go. The sea mines can now pop through black balloons. Okay, so let's keep going. Attack and sea mine deploy range increased slightly. Sea mines do greatly increase damage. Mega Mine cooldown reduced even further. Naval tactics affects all water-based towers everywhere, so they no longer have to be in range of Admiral Brickell to get the buff of naval tactics. Mega Mine does massively increase damage and longer stun. So there you go. Now let's drop this Mega Mine, and as you can see, it did get a bit of an upgrade in terms of what it looks like. So how much better could it possibly be, right? I mean, oh, we just sent out 50 ZOMGs accidentally. So let's see how well it does. It popped all of them. Do it again. Obviously this is lagging my computer, but I really want to see where this goes. So this is insane. It popped 50 ZOMGs when I accidentally sent them. And then it just pops all of the BFBs and a good chunk of the Moabs as well. So I accidentally sent 50 ZOMGs and it popped all of them with one mine. Just keep that in mind next time you're thinking about Admiral Brickell. So Admiral Brickell's alright. I still don't exactly vibe with her because there's only 2 water-based towers that she can actually buff, which is a little bit of a disappointment. If Ninja Kiwi does in fact add in a 3rd water-based tower for her to buff, then maybe she will get a little bit more affection from me. But overall, she's pretty good. If you're using a water-based map only, then she's incredible. Definitely would get her. So, all in all, holy crap, I can't believe I just went through all those heroes. But, by far, if I had to choose a number 1, I would probably go with Obyn. So if you haven't got Obyn bought, 100% go for Obyn, because Brambles and Wall of Trees is amazing, and overall is an amazing tower for Chimps mode. Now, don't get me wrong, doesn't mean these guys aren't amazing towers for Chimps mode. Quincy, Gwendolyn, Ezili, and Adora all are in exceptionally good towers as well, but I personally believe that Obyn is the best. Also, Etienne is extremely good for certain situations, so I'd probably get him later. Churchill, way too expensive to be useful. Striker Jones, he got nerfed quite a bit heavily, so he's not that great anymore. Admiral Brickell, you could probably just leave her be. Pat Fusty, same thing. Benjamin, he's just if you're feeling greedy one day and you really want to get all the cash you can. But overall, that is my official guide on which heroes are amazing, which heroes are okay, their pros and cons, which balloons they can pop. I think I covered roughly everything. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. This is definitely going to be a long video, so I'll put timestamps in it along the way. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys.